So it appears we've got some infighting within MAGA land as Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene are going at it. We've got to talk about this, and let's jump right in. So this is Fox News, actually, guys. They're covering it. President Trump polls support for Marjorie Taylor Greene, encourages primary challenger. Ouch. And, if you don't like someone, just don't endorse them. But like, if you really don't like someone, you don't endorse them, and you start saying, I want you to lose. And so that's what's going on right now. Again, this is Fox News reporting it. We'll go through the details, but from Fox News, it says, ally no more. President Trump pulled the support for Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on Friday night, calling her a, quote, ranting lunatic who's gone far left. Greene responded by saying Trump was trying to make an example of her to scare other Republicans. Wow. I guess you could also read this too, is that Trump is just in panic mode. He's worried about what's going to go on with whatever Epstein stuff or other scandals that he's up to. This is also more from Fox News. It's crazy that you're watching Fox News that show this stuff. Quote, she has told many people that she is upset that I don't return her phone calls anymore. What? But I can't take a ranting lunatic's call every day. Trump withdraws his endorsement of Marjorie Taylor Greene, blasting his once loyal ally as, quote, wacky. Now, you never know the truth in this stuff on who's calling who. You honestly never know. Trump always likes to say he has a good relationship with everyone and everyone loves him, etc. But you really never know. Even Laura Loomer's weighing in on this. This is all in Trumpy land. Just in, President Trump calls for Marjorie Taylor Trader Greene to be primaried. He said he will endorse a challenge to MTG and see she's a ranting lunatic. Should I move to Georgia? I told you all this was coming. So I guess theoretically there's a seat opening up. And this is a question I pose to you is, after Trump goes, right, who's going to then be the head of the party? It's an interesting question. My personal opinion on this, I think it's MTG's trying to position herself to run for president. That'd be one. I think Vance, obviously the vice president would be a possible candidate there, and then I think Rubio's name is there also. My bet would be the party will start rallying around Vance. That would be my bet. But I mean, you never know with this stuff. When you guys, for those of you old enough, you see elections. Sometimes the front runner, right? You all think it's going to be a certain person. Like I remember, 1 year we all thought it was going to be Jeb Bush, and that died out pretty quickly. And I mean, you never know, right? It's like they'll be pushing Vance or whatever, and then sometimes people just don't go for it. They go for someone else. And this is Johnny MAGA here, tweets the whole thing. Let's actually read through what Trumpies has to say, and then we'll go through Marjorie Taylor Greene's response. So this is from Trump. I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of the great state of Georgia, okay? Over the past few weeks, despite my creating record achievements for our country, including a complete victory of the shutdown, closed borders, blah, okay, blah, blah. Okay, not gonna read everything. That's too much. 8 wars, blah, blah. So basically, it's funny. In attacking someone, he has to tell everyone how awesome he is. Okay, we keep going. All I see is wacky Marjorie doing is complain. That's coming from Trump. Complain. It seemed to all begin when I sent her a poll stating that she should not run for senator. Oh, interesting. Okay. And I had heard this before. I heard there was a rumor out there that she wanted to run for senator and Trump didn't like it. But now literally we're talking about it in public. So that if you'd heard that rumor before, it looks like it's probably true, chances are. Then he says here, or governor. Okay, so she's thinking governor too. I hadn't heard that one. I hadn't heard the governor one. She was at 12% and didn't have a chance, unless, of course, she had my endorsement, which he wasn't about to get. Okay. So one thing I will say about Trumpers is he does know how these games are played, right? So when in doubt, if he can get Trumper support and Trump can say, I love this said person and start doing the fundraising, and MAGA basically blindly follows Trump into anything. So whatever person he picks, you could call him a kingmaker, and he likes that kind of stuff. He likes the TV show aspect of it, like, who's going to get the final rose kind of thing. So evidently not Marjorie. She has told many people that she is upset that I don't return her phone calls anymore. But with 219 congressmen and women, 53 U.S. senators, and 24 cabinet members, almost 200 countries, otherwise normal life to lead. And it's funny when he like puts all these numbers out there. So I guess if you want to look at it that way, like, all these people are possible people that he could endorse to become the next president. I think Trump's point of view on this one, he'll probably drag it out as long as possible to who he's going to endorse as being his successor, because, in a TV show land, you always have to have a cliffhanger. And, this is something that it may not necessarily be Vance. I'm telling you guys. And because sometimes voters, sometimes they're fickle. That's a good way to put it. Things could change in a couple of years. I personally don't care for Vance. I don't care for a lot of people in Trump's administration. To be frank with you guys, it's like, I'll just give you going with Marjorie, Vance, or Rubio. I mean, it's not great choices, but I'd probably have to go to Rubio out of those three. I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on that. I'm not saying I like any of these people. I'm saying if I had to pick one of those three. But to be fair, if Marjorie is fighting against Trump, and I guess if you feel like that the Republican Party is going to try to distance from Trump, then Marjorie's the candidate that you'd want to go to. I don't think any of these people are qualified. Probably Rubio over her, but I mean, at this stage in the game for a Republican Party, who cares about qualifications? It's just all a TV show to them, and these are all actors anyway. So what difference does it make? But it is interesting to see this stuff because I think it's going to get really, really ugly as we end, towards the end of Trump's presidency. Trump also then says, I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primary Marjorie in the District of Georgia. They are too fed up with her and her antics. Okay, as if Trump doesn't do any antics, right? If the right person runs, they will have my complete and unyielding support. She has gone far left and even doing The View, right? He always talks about TV shows, whatever. And they're low IQ Republican-hating anchors. Huh, okay. Thank you very much for your attention to the matter. Make America great again. Great. This is Vance. I want you to have to listen to what Vance has to say here.
But I actually think, even though the Democrats won't ever admit it, that administrations for the next 40 or 50 years are going to be guided by the Trump doctrine in the same way people were guided by the Monroe Doctrine 200.
Right. So the reason why Vance is talking about Trump doctrine now is literally he's putting himself in the position to be like, hey, I'm going to extend Trump's policies if you want that. And that's a question, because right now, in it's not an opinion, it's just polling data. You look at polling data, people say the country's going the wrong direction. It's like a 2-1. So Vance here, he's tying his political career then to Trump. He already has. He's the vice president, of course. But you don't necessarily have to do that. I mean, you can certainly have vice presidents say, hey, I'm definitely not that person. I'm a totally different person. Depends what route you want to play. Vance, though, often is controlled by Peter Thiel and all that kind of money. And if you want to follow Vance's career, you can literally see where he's been. If you want to watch South Park, you can watch that version as well. They make more kind of crazy jokes in this stuff. But these things can change. I mean, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene here. This was in the past. Look at the kind of stuff she used to say.
There we go. There we go. And then I got to do one more thing. I always do this. I just love this guy so much. He's taller. He can kind of go behind the podium. Yeah. He is. He's fantastic. This guy right here is great.
Right. So literally she would run and just put Trump's image behind her. That was her whole spiel. So what does she have to say in return then? So this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says, President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. Okay. I haven't called him at all. Oh, all right. But I did send these text messages today. Apparently this is what sent him over the edge, the Epstein files. All right. And of course he's coming after me to take hard to make an example and scare all the other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files. It's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop Epstein files from coming out. And he's actually goes to this level. Wow. But really, most Americans wish he would just fight this hard to help them. Forgotten men and women of America who are fed up with the foreign wars, foreign causes, are going broke, trying to feed their families and losing hope of ever achieving the American dream. She actually sounds like a normal person these days. So yeah, she's definitely changing her point of view. That's what I voted for. I have supported President Trump with too much of my precious time. Wow. Too much of my own money. Ooh. And fought harder for him even when almost all the Republicans turned their back and denounced him. Okay. But I don't worship or serve Donald Trump. I worship God. Jesus is my savior. And I serve my district GA 14 and the American people. I mean, the same today as I have always been. And I will continue to pray this administration will be successful because the American people desperately deserve what they voted for, blah, blah, blah. For me, I remain America first and America only. Huh. Okay. So according to Marjorie, I guess she hasn't been calling Trump. That's why I said, you never know with these people. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't monitor their phone calls and stuff like that. I'm sure somebody knows the truth on these things. But Trump does have a history about lying about phone calls and such. He's also tweeting this stuff out. This like total drama with this people all the time. This MAGA person saying Trump is a massive piece of crap. You can read the thing there. And they're already endorsing Marjorie for 2028. And then Trump says, did Thomas Massey, sometimes referred to as Rand Paul Jr., because of the fact that he always votes against the Republican Party, get married already? Boy, that was quick. No wonder the polls have him at least 8% chance of winning the election. And then he goes on, his wife will soon find out she's stuck to a loser. Okay. And then this is also one of Trump's people tweeting this stuff out. This is going to be the fight within MAGA land, is which side will they take. Now, yes, they have total allegiance to the Trumpers, but Trumpers are not going to be around forever. And if the polling data gets really, really awful, people will start to distance themselves more. So in terms of just, politics or horse racing, as if you want to call it that way, I think Marjorie, if you're going to try to win the presidency, that's probably the route to go, is distance yourself, because the economy is going to take a real dive. I mean, you can see it in the numbers, and people are going to get ticked off. And Trump will try his circus, stuff, but he doesn't give, crap. It doesn't care about at all about regular people. So whether or not she stands any chance in the, primaries and the Republican nomination, we'll see. I think a lot of people step forward, and I think it'll be both parties. You have a lot of people step forward, and what may be the front runner in the beginning doesn't necessarily mean you get that at the end, because it's going to be a real tough fight. You got an open seat, essentially. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and catch y'all in the next video.